Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of us, good night. I am Mazichika Austin, uh, a Biafran, and indeed, uh, graciously a student of Radio Biafra, London, and a student of Mass Nandeka. It's not becoming so funny, so humorous that if the easiest way to be proscribed or the easiest way to be target terrorist is when you have a few few minutes audience with Mazen Namdekano, then you become a high risk uh, to, to the government, the cowardly Nigerian government. It's really fun that the whole thing now is go close to Nnamdi Kanu and you become a strong threat to the government of the day. Everything is just sounding fun. It's so fun. I it's really funny. Well, we have a lot of things to talk today anyway, and we'll welcome as many people that would want to have their voices or their own opinion thrown. But before that, I think I'm going to make a kind of a foundational discussion where I'll talk about some things. It will help. It will help in guiding us for us to understand where we're taking off from and supposedly where we want to arrive at. Very, very important. So we might not be ushering people in now for discussions, but be rest assured that as time progresses, you'll be allowed to come in and throw in your voice. And the essence of the little delay is to enable us to understand what we are discussing. So in order to save ourselves from digression, which can be so disastrous to the original intent of this morning's based on where I'm speaking from, this morning's discussion. We are talking about Sowore, and we are talking about the revolution now. We are talking about, is Sowore idea a good one? Yes, if it is a good one. Is it rightly positioned? Is what we are discussing this moment is more of a deep intellectual overview, deep intellectual analysis of the intent of Sowore, his vision, his methodology, his choice of engagement, looking at the whole thing from a holistic point of view, we can as well deduce if he has a good intention. Of course, whatever we are deducing or whatever position we are submitting to is on our individual's perception, is a personal, our individual opinions. It does not in any way means that this is the general consensus that we must understand. So we are ending our individual opinions because we think we have something to say, and that is what we must understand to be vital here. So first of all, Sowore said he has an intention to change the present status quo, which by all definition and by all standard is anti-people, is oppressive, is dictatorial, is, a kind of fascist regime. And he has the vision to subvert this evil power permutation. It's a good vision because when you desire to bring a change, when you desire to destroy anti-people system, is a positive one, is a good one, no doubt about it. But the truth remains, because I say we are going to ask ourselves questions. People will come in, we'll discuss. The truth remains, is Sowore the first to have desired to bring a change? Absolutely none. If we should be truthful to ourselves, we should understand that even before now, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, we have watched clips where he led pro-Nigeria protests in Nigerian embassy in UK. But these men have realized, I'm talking about the kind of mind Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, they realize at a certain point, they told themselves the truth. They decide to, move on the path of realism, that Nigeria is not mendable. It's as simple as that. Having a good vision, having a plan for Nigeria is just like you having a plan to effect change in hell. I don't know if you understand me. Let me repeat myself. When you say you want to effect a positive change in Nigeria, that could be attributed to someone trying to effect change in Hades, in hell. Practically, it's not possible. Theoretically, it could be possible. Orally, it could be, feasible. But realistically speaking and practically speaking, evidentially, you cannot achieve that. Why do I say this? For more clarity. Nigeria is built in a way that whatever change you made, I will explain deeply, whatever change you are trying to make, whatever positive change you are trying to make, must be thwarted by the retrogressive tendency that runs in the blood of the Fulanis. So when you say you want to make a change, invariably you're going to experience deep frustration from the Fulanis. Let's look at it. Earlier before now, people have been fighting for change. People have been staking their lives to bring a change in Nigeria. And they end up consolidating, unconsciously to them, they end up consolidating, extending the Fulani hegemon. I will explain, pointing at historical antecedents. Consciously or unconsciously, any change that is geared towards Nigeria is that change that is consolidating, that is extending, that is, serving the mono interest of the Fulani oligarchies. And what is that mono interest? Fulanization and Islamization. Before 1966, Nigeria was experiencing corruption as a result of the democratic government of that time. A man known as Aguironsi and the earliest revolutionaries. You should understand that 1966, the first coup of 1966, not the counter coup, was purely revolutionary in outlook. These guys came up for revolutionary, and these guys were mostly our Igbo, our Yoruba, and non-Fulani brothers. They came up for revolution to remove the dirty and corrupt Nigeria government led by Tafala Belowa, if I'm not mistaken, a Fulani-led government. From 1960 to 1966, they have already messed up everything. Who was the prime minister? The Fulani man. This guy came, because what am I saying? For you to understand that when you say you want a change in Nigeria, you are consciously and unconsciously consolidating, extending Fulani hegemon. Because Nigeria, by all definition, by all paraphrasing, is an estate of the Fulanis. You can argue if you wish. So what am I trying to say? These guys in 1966 led a revolution. These young military officers led a revolution, which there was later a counter-revolution by Aguironsi and Co. They had intention to bring a change to Nigeria. They had intention to have the Nigeria of their dream. But they never knew that there is no way you can change a system that is rooted in Fulanization and Islamization. What happened? That vision, that agenda of 1966 was wrecked down in the same 1966. Same Fulanis stopped that wonderful philosophy that was geared for the betterment of the generality of Nigeria. They destroyed it. Again, in 1967, a man came with another philosophy known as Ahera Declaration. If you study the philosophies of Ahera Declaration, if it was inculcated into the national political philosophy, that would have been an excelling reformation Nigeria would have experienced as of that time. In 1967, Ojukwu and the Biafran political philosophers came up with a wonderful philosophy, a wonderful political philosophy, economic philosophy. The Fulanis saw the uniqueness of that political philosophy, which was enshrined and embedded in Ahera Declaration. What did they do? they mobilized the rest of Nigeria to destroy that wonderful organic political philosophy. And those they lured into destruction of that Afrocentric political philosophy were the likes of Obasanjo, the likes of T.Y. Danjuma, and all the rest of them. Guess what? What happened? They used these guys to destroy such a political philosophy that would have served for the betterment of the Nigerian, for the Biafran people, of the Nigerian people, and of African people. Why do I say Ahara Declaration could as well serve for the betterment of Nigerian people and Africa? In all the continents of the world, there is nothing like holistic development. You can quote me wrong. There is nothing like holistic development. There is no continent in the world that has had a uniform or collective development. It does not happen like that. Development or civilization starts from a one point, one unit, and it spills over to other units. It starts from one sector and it spills over to other sectors. Ahara Declaration would have helped Nigeria, would have helped Africa, because the Asians, everybody is running today, going there to live a comfortable life, never experience development on a uniform front. Asians, we are lucky to first of all have development dropped in Japan. And immediately Japan caught the fire. It started spilling over to other rest of Asia. The development we are experiencing in America today never even started in all American soil. I'm talking about United States. If you read the history of United States, you find out that their development first of all started from northern part of United States, because the southern part used to be agrarian society, while the northern part is industrial oriented. So because it's packed in the northern America, it started spilling over to the landscape known as United States of America. And you could see Canada enjoying it, and you could see to a reasonable height the influence entering Brazil and all the rest of them. In Europe today, the entire Europe did not have industrial revolution at a time. It started in UK, London. Industrial revolution started in London, and gradually it moved to the rest of Europe and the Europeans. So Ahara Declaration would have been for the betterment of Africa, because if assuming Biafra and her philosophies was allowed to progress, the industrialization, the scientific evolution that was happening in Biafra would have naturally spilled over to the rest of Africa. And by now, Africa would have been same pace with the rest of the world. Because you could remember within the 3 years of the war, Biafran scientists were able to, not just to build a third world technologies. Their technologies were measuring up with the, first world countries. I choose to use the word first and second and third world parity because of the Cold War during the time we are talking. So it's more of a favorable international terminology as of the time we are talking about. So it could have helped them. But same Fulanese saw this light and they mobilized the rest of Africa, the rest of Nigerians, to clamp down on this light. Because I decided to go historical a bit so that Sowore and the rest of his kind will understand that you cannot change Nigeria. It's practically impossible. Because Satan blessed Nigeria and handed it over to the Fulanis to continue ruining it in perpetuity. It's as simple as that. So if you want to make a change, if you desire to replicate or to see what is happening in Europe, because Sowore has traveled wide, most times people who have traveled wide would want to see the betterment of what they experience abroad to be brought home. That is, it is normal. Those of us who are outside this country, who are outside Nigeria, are more radicalized in agitation than the home people, because they have gone there, they have seen life, they have seen the value of life, so they want it done. So Sowore has traveled well. But one thing he failed to understand is this, that practically impossible, Nigeria can never be changed. I am digging down to the history so that he will understand that these guys would rather go their separate ways than to allow you to instill Western civilization in Nigeria. They can never. Now, the Civil War part. Are you aware that Awolowo in 1990s, I think 1993, thereabout, being a wealthy Yoruba man, an entrepreneur of his time, a man who was doing great in terms of commerce and industry, even in media, Awolowo was seen virtually in every sector of the economy. And being a man who has traveled wide, he used his resources to campaign heavily against military regime, against military rule. Awolowo used his resources to campaign immensely against military regime. He was lobbying internationally and locally for entrenchment of democracy, because he has traveled. He's an international entrepreneur, so he meets with people, so he understands the kind of Nigeria he wanted. But do you know what happened? Awolowo was killed, not by Igbo man, not by Middle Belton, not by an Hausa man. Take note of this. Awolowo elections victory was nullified, and Awolowo's life and that of the wife were taken away by the Fulanis. It amounts to stupidity for you want to change someone's nature, a way of life that is endemic, that runs in someone's DNA. You say you want to change. You are deceiving yourself, because chameleon cannot change its nature. Awolowo had a vision of having an economy-driven society. But the Fulanis told him, no, we prefer to have a retrogressive society. We don't want a society where people will discuss and choose the way of life they want to live. We want a society that will impose on people the kind of life they will live. And the mother that Awolowo, same Fulani people. Who did that Awolowo revolutionary effort favored? It favored, sorry, not Awolowo, Abiola. Sorry. Thank you, Mazanayo. So you can now understand who did that Abiola's effort favored. Abiola's effort favored the Fulanis. He spent his resources, he spent his time, he spent his life, just the way Sowore is going today, the dimension Sowore is going today. And guess what? The Fulanis kept taking over. they're still advancing. So when you kill yourself for the sake of Nigeria, you're fooling yourself, because there is no amount of bloodshed that is targeted, that is geared towards changing Nigeria, that is going to be fruitful. Believe you me or not. If everybody lies, even Amechi, the current minister, said that even though you kill everybody in Nigeria, that Nigeria will not be good. And believe you me, Amechi knows what he's saying. He's right on that. So whatever, anyhow you kill yourself, anyhow you sacrifice with intention to change Nigeria, Nigeria will not be good. You can't ask Rotimi Chibika Amechi. Abiola did it. It never worked. Awolowo tried even after the Civil War to initiate to them a better economic plan. They killed him. Same Fulani people. And Sowore, today you want to negate history. And you said you want to bring a change. It doesn't work. It can never work. You cannot change an evil entity. Now, Abiola's case apart, are you aware that there was a group, known as NEDECO. And same NEDECO made a relentless effort to have democracy brought to Nigeria. The NEDECO group, I think I'm not mistaken, yes, put pressure on the military regime of Abacha, lobbied internationally, put all their efforts to have democracy back to Nigeria. Gani Fayomi was, I think, one of them, Wole Soyinka, and the rest of them. Now, let me not tell you, I decided to dig down history so that people will understand that what is smelling on the ego's skin comes out from him. That is an Igbo adage. Whenever you see a he-goat, a stinking he-goat, the odor comes out from him. So it's a DNA issue. So the NADECO, I think, or FEDECO, I can't remember, the group, put pressure on the then military regime in order to have democracy. And they had a wonderful plan how they want Nigeria to be. Lo and behold, in 1999, democracy was given. Obasanjo emerged, started going towards liberalization policy, started going towards integration, regional integration, start talking about internet, opening the eyes of Nigeria, bringing internet and whatever. And these things contradict what the Fulanis wanted. They don't want that because they hate anything called liberalism. They hate anything called progressive thinking. They hate it. Obasanjo was there. They were not happy with him. They started battling him, setting up a lot of national distractions. Insurgents were raised. Same people. When he now handed over to their brother, Yaradua, who was relatively educated, and of course you should know that Yaradua family is not, they are not really conservative Fulani class. And they saw that Yaradua was a progressive thinker, he was a liberal thinker. What did they do? They fan more the ember of Boko Haram, Yusuf. You remember the Yusuf? To make sure the angle he's going does not work. Too many problems on him, and finally he died. And Goodluck took over. Now, funny enough, Goodluck took over to bring a reformation directly to them via the Almajiri educational system, reformation of the Almajiri education system. Remember, Sam Almajiri is what Ganduje, the Kano state governor, told you that 90% of them are foreigners. You remember? Now, Goodluck said, okay, good and fine. Let's reform the thinking pattern of these people. And unfortunately, Goodluck fails to understand that you cannot change these people. You dare not think of reforming their society. They want to drag the entire Nigeria to a dark age lifestyle. And you're coming to tell them civilization. They got frustrated with him, mobilized all their proteges around the nation, and removed Goodluck. The first thing they did immediately they came is to destroy that Almajiri reformed educational system that Goodluck started. So for you to understand that these people can never and will never understand progressive society. They will never understand liberal society. And they came deceptively, took the lives of Sowore, the lives of Obasanjo, and the rest of them, deceived them, told them that this will happen, that they are progressive, or progressive Congress, that they are progressive. These guys never took time to look at antecedents, and that is where I have issue with when people say they are intellectuals or they are elites. Elitism or intellectualism that is devoid or bereft of connecting the past human activities with the present is not elitism, neither is intellectualism. Because your ability to vet somebody's action yesterday and using it to relate today is what makes you an intelligent fellow. But Sowore never cared. Obasanjo never cared. They lined behind this because somebody decided to use an adopted term, progressive. And today, you can see how they have retrogressively destroyed what Obasanjo, what Goodluck, what Yaradua did. Less than 4 years, they wrecked down everything. Less than 4 years, they borrowed this nation into barrenness. Less than 4 years, they destroyed freedom of speech. Less than 4 years, they installed dictatorship into the system. Less than 4 years, they wrecked down the economy and enthroned their Fulanization and Islamization. So why did I take time to make this analysis? Because most times people want to be politically correct. Hey, let me sound in a way so that people will say, I am a good citizen. No. What makes you human is your ability to think, is your ability to look in between the lines and say, this is right and this is wrong. That's what makes you human. So you must be a reality oriented and not politically correct fellow. It is the postulation of this being politically correct that put Sowore where he is today. Sowore does not want to look at the reality, what the truth on the ground is saying, what the fact is presenting. The fact is presenting that Nigeria can never be good. The Fulanis will never allow this country to progress because they hate Western civilization. They hate progressive trench. And you must understand that. Look at the army Buratai is managing. You can see Nigerian army is the worst army today. Even the armies of the Dark Age are even more honored and respected than the Buratai's army today, Fulanima. To the extent that soldiers will die, they will not be ceremonially buried. That is, you see how they wreck things, how they destroy things. They are experts in destruction. Look at the judiciary they are managing today. Gone and gone. Look at the legislature they are in charge of. It's just the legislature of take your bow and leave. No critical screening, no critical question. Nobody is asking, rudimentary questions. All you hear is take your bow. So tell me where they are foreseeing that is not retrogressing. So the likes of Sowore should understand that he is wasting his energy fighting for a revived Nigeria because practically there is nothing like or going to be like revived Nigeria. And he should also understand that people will never stake their lives for Nigeria to be changed. If anybody is telling you we are going to protest, that is lie. If Sowore wants to know how his people will support him, he should reconfigure, he should review his stand and start thinking for the liberation of the Oduduwa people. Believe me, Yoruba youth will line behind him and sink this nation. Nobody will call for protest, pro-Nigeria protest. You see Biafran youth coming out. They are not ready. Nobody wants to take a bullet for Nigeria's sake. Because we know even all of us die, if we die for this change of the government, and this government changes, the Fulanis will still frustrate the society and make sure it comes back to them. Because they will be unleashing terror until the international community and the home pressure will say, why not give them power to see if they can solve the insecurity? That is always the card they play. Remember when Good Luck was there, people say no, it's better to allow a northerner to come in. At least he can know how to approach his people and solve insecurity. And of course he's solving it because all his people that we are in captive have been released. The terrorists have been released, asked to go home with a heavy money. And those of them who are interested in the military are given arms to unleash more terror. Unofficial certification now. So you can now understand how it was. Even though the country, Sowore, you fight and this regime leaves and somebody comes in, even though you, Sowore, is asked to be there, they will frustrate you with terrorism. They will destroy everything. In fact, terrorism will be hitting Abuja every night that you will run away. And they come back again and start messing things up. So what Sowore should do is to look at the heartbeats of the Yoruba people. If you read the responses of various Yoruba youths, you will understand they are looking for their own Nnamdi Kanu. So, Sowore, if you think you are fit to wear such shoe, because I understand the fear of DSS and SSS, that you are going close to Nnamdi Kanu, which they think you are not really coming for change of Nigeria. They feel that maybe you have been tutored, you have been, convinced to start looking towards your own people's freedom. I don't know, but the truth is the truth is this. That is the only part that can shake the Fulanis. If you say you're protesting to change the government, it doesn't move them, because they know no government to change in Nigeria that will stop them from coming back and keep messing things up. They understand that too well. But the only thing that will call their attention is when you start demanding for the freedom of the Oduduwa. Even their British masters will call them to sit up, that something dangerous is about to happen. When you say you're protesting for Nigeria, British will laugh and tell them, forget. Even though he protests and we ask you to leave, you guys will still come back. But the only thing that will scare them is when Sowore and his lies start demanding for the freedom of his indigenous people, the Yoruba race. Very, very important. And that is what the reality on ground entails. Any other thing than that is elusive, is fantasy, and of course is self-deceit. Very, very important to understand that. Very, very important. Because nobody, not even the Yoruba youth, are ready to have their bodies designed with bullets for Nigerian sake. You even hear people say, "How I go die for Nigeria." Put down your ears, you hear people saying such a thing. But tell them, encourage, boost the morality of the Yoruba people to fight in defense of the Oduduwa land. You will see them, all of them will line up. And this is why I have issue with some of these so-called intellectuals or educated fellows. You must have the ability to read in between the lines, understand what the people want, run on the path the people want, and the people will line behind you. Don't run on your own path or the path of your friends, few friends. Your friends will distance you in time of trouble. And you cannot impose your choice on the people. It doesn't work that way. Why you see Nnamdi Kanu till tomorrow, everybody is keenly listening to him, speaking to him, because he is running on the templates of the people. We want freedom. We don't want freedom in Nigeria. That is rubbish. We want freedom out of Nigeria. And he understands that, obviously. That's why whenever he comes out, you see crowd in any part of the world, because he is running on the templates of the people. Sowore, reconfigure your mindset. Stop being politically correct. It does not. It can never. Abiola was politically correct and he ended badly. Obasanjo was politically correct and look at him in a deep mess today. T.Y. Danjuma was in politically correctness and look at them. Go on, same. So why will you wish to be on same path of these persons? The earlier you redefine your stand, start going on what reality calls for and not what mainstream unpopular positions are calling for. So for those of us who would want to have their voices heard, you can send in your request while we advance. So very, very important. Very, very important. Send your request and the floor will always be for yours. So very, very important we understand this. And Sowore and his life should, as a matter of fact, there's a strong demand, not on changing Nigeria because Nigeria is not going to change, but place a strong demand on the freedom of his people